Namaste, sir. So see, today I have been given the top CBDC. This is a simple presentation which has been prepared where all the teachers who are teaching pharmacy are aware that we start with the definition of pharmacy, we go for pharmacopoeia, then we go for the extension of the definition where we teach them about identification. So I have been given the selection portion. So from collection, the portion has been taken. And I think I'm very clear that from collection, rules, I have taken certain things. We have given more emphasis to the selection criteria.
Selection and preservation of drug substance, which is a very simple subject, simple topic for all the homeopaths. So I move ahead. This is just the introduction of. Okay, now we are all aware of aphorism 264, where Dr. Henneman is stating that true physician must be provided with genuine medicine of unimpaired strength so that he may be able to rely upon the therapeutic powers. He must be
able himself to judge of their genuineness. So this is the aphorism which is stating that all the people who are practicing doctors must get proper genuine medicine. We study pharmacy in the first year, but we are implementing it every year. I hope everyone knows that in CBDC pharmacy 20 hours are allotted for hospital visits, right? So we first, those who are in non-CBDC, those who are very new, it's okay. But those who are very, teaching in the teaching profession for a longer time, they know that we had 100 hours for teaching and we had 50 hours of practical. Now it has changed to 100 hours of teaching, which remained the same, but now it is 150 hours. 110 hours. So this has become 110. And out of that, we are having 20 hours allocated for hospital side. So we are showing them the hospital, we are showing them the OPD, IPD, we are exposing them, particularly what is mentioned in our syllabus, we have to show the dispensary, we have to show them how we are arranging the medicines. When those who are doing NABH, we are also showing them which are similar medicine, which are similar sounding medicines, how to store them also. So these things we have to, in second term onwards, we are taking them to the hospitals. Like physiology teachers are also taking students for a hospital visit. Then we have these clinical sessions. So in this particular thing, we see that early exposure. When in Bhopal, Amita madam was with me, we had a principal session where a lot of people were opposing the CBDC, Almost everyone, they please give us time, 1 or 2 years. Please train us for this. Don't just put CBDC on our heads. But it was not so. They said, you lock the college, you stop the college, we cannot stop CBDC. So now see, we gradually got adapted, right? There was a lot of opposition at that time. Literally principals, management, everyone was saying that there was a requirement. You give us some pause and you give us time, but it was not heard at that time. So that is why, to implement CBDC work, like BA teacher, it becomes very difficult. One topic you teach and you put 4 papers of assignments, right? Which domain, what is the learning objective? So it becomes very tedious for us. Now see, we move on to the next part. In the next slide, again there is the aphorism 266, which is in the organon of medicine, given as Dr. Henneman also emphasizes, substances belonging to animal and vegetable kingdom possesses their medicinal plant qualities most perfectly in the raw state. This is what is given. So these were the quotes somewhat related, so I put them. The aphorism 267 says that Dr. Henneman explains the selection of indigenous plants from the region they are grown, right? So this is to be taken, why? Because they will contain maximum minerals and they will contain maximum nutrient values. So we must not change the position of the plant and try to grow it somewhere and then procure it from somewhere else. Wherever is a natural habitat, we should try to procure the plants from those areas. So in the selection part, it is almost like collection, but what to select out of the collection, that is important. Drug substances should be selected by qualified and experienced botanists. We are doctors. I think we have pharmacy tour to see the manufacturing unit with good manufacturing practices. We are also given a chance to see the medicinal unit. But as homeopaths, we are not given an assignment that you go and select all the plants. Herbarium making it is okay, but otherwise we are not responsible for making medicines. Long back in 2010, when we had a teachers training program for pharmacy. See, pharmacy had a chance after 12 years. I think all those who are quite senior must be knowing in 2010 Delhi, they invited us for only 2 days. And on top of that, the second day, when they announced that tickets are to be submitted, people left the hall to submit the ticket and no one was there in the pharmacy hall. They was long back, 15 years back. The situation was like this. First day everyone is hearing. We had some speakers from Orissa name, but sir told us that they are manufacturing homeopathic medicines in their dispensary. I mean, in their college hospital, they are manufacturing. But that was what I heard. But we actually never manufactured in Gujarat. Rather, we are seeing that the manufacturing unit which is present here as Hillwell is also not manufacturing full medicine. They are also ordering it from, as back potency from Kolkata, HAPCO, right, sir? They are ordering it from HAPCO. We are getting 29, 199, and then we go for further making of the medicines. So nobody has asked us to go and collect the drugs. In Ayurveda also I have seen that they are given lessons on this, how to collect the drugs. But they are having specific certain prayers and everything attached with whatsoever the collection is. But here we are leaving it on the perfect botanists who are highly trained to acquire the drugs. They have the knowledge of taxonomy. I hope everyone knows what is taxonomy. It is the binomial system of classification of names of plant where a generic and specific name is given in a proper order. So those people who are having proper knowledge, they will be able to identify the plants and they will understand the species. So I hope you understand also that species collection is not that very easy. When similar species are combining, we find that there is a genus which is formed. Once the genus is the identified family is known, family goes to orders, order goes to class, then it goes to the kingdom, right? So this is the way they are trained in such subjects. So they become expertise in selection of the drugs. So botanists have to be relied. We have to rely on the botanists because they have specific knowledge of the species which are to be collected, right? So they are having proper knowledge of taxonomy and they also have proper knowledge of systemic botany. At this place, at the same time, these experts need to have only not knowledge of botany, but they also need to have knowledge about homeopathic pharmacy. For genuineness of the drug, it is mandatory to entrust a botanist, zoologist, chemist. I hope you understand botanist obviously for the plant kingdom, zoologist for the animal kingdom, and the chemist and all for mineral kingdom. Nosode and Sarcode are having some common factors where we have to rely on the slaughterhouses but analytical labs also, and for imponderability also instructions are given. Okay, drug substances which are procured must be fresh and healthy. It is known to all. Selection should be done of plants which are free from worms. Obviously, those which are laden with insects and worms cannot be. We wash food also at home and prepare it in such a way in certain seasons. We are avoiding eating spinach and all. Why? Because it contains a lot of worm infestations and all. So these have to be thoroughly clean and hygienic, free from worms and insects as per the directions given in the pharmacopoeia. Selection of decayed plants should be avoided. Very obvious that if something is decaying or decomposing, then it is losing its composition, and once it loses its composition, then we don't have nutrient values left in those plants. Selection of vigorous plants should be made, means those plants which are quite healthy. Selection of proper colored plants should be there. If there is some discoloration in the plant, we must discard them. Rather, I feel sometimes that whatever we are mentioning so much in the books and we are showing them the medicinal plant gardens which are well maintained, we should have certain practicals of this sort. Rather than doing more paperwork, we should actually expose our students to such things which will help them in future also. Now there is selection of deteriorated plants should be avoided, which is one and the same thing. Plants having abnormal odor also should be avoided, right? And selection of wild plants is always preferred. Like wild animals are preferred, wild plants are also preferred because their medicinal virtues as they derive has more nutrition from nature and soil, right? They are more powerful than others. So we know that plants, why we study plant families and all? Because we know that if they belong to the same family, they will have similar type of nutrition values also and are having much similar symptoms. In the higher areas, they are differentiated. Otherwise, we have family questions also. For example, belladonna is growing very well in the soil which is rich in calcium. Pulsatilla is growing very well in the soil which is rich in silica. Near the sea beaches, we find more pulsatilla plants are grown. I am extremely sorry, could not put much plant photographs, but I have we visit a very important center at Anand, that is the Directorate for Medicinal and Aromatic Plants, and it is being sponsored by central government. Many other colleges are also bringing their students to Anand for visit of medicinal plant. So if possible, I will share a small video that how they are running the unit, and they have been aided by central government. They are running a lot of research projects. So if teachers are aware of this, they can also ask the students to participate, and they themselves may also do some research work if required. Now abnormal color should also be color should not be selected. Okay. Now these are all things like withered plants cannot be selected, right? Which is getting almost torn up. Plants having woody consistency should not be selected. Can anyone tell me why woody consistency should be avoided? I understand this is a post-lunch session, which is very difficult to go through a simple topic like this. But can anyone just have an idea that why woody consistency should also not be selected? Yes, exactly. Anyone else wants to support this answer, or anyone else has anything else to say? Woody consistency should not be selected, right? So woody consistency from outer region should be removed. The inner thing should be selected for preparation of the medicine. So selection of plant substances is done by botanists, and for maximum medicinal virtues, plants are collected early in the morning after the disappearance of morning dew. Anyhow, whatever points will come in the next slides also, will be dealing with more water, adding of more water. If we have to avoid moisture, we have to avoid rains, like after immediate rains we cannot collect. We cannot collect after the morning dew. Why? What will water do to the plant content? In just an idea. Yes. हाँ बढ़ जाएगा तो फिर उसका मेडिसिनल वैल्यू जो होना चाहिए exactly what we require cannot be obtained in the pure form, right? Exactly. Yes, sir.
It has effect on the drug strength.
Yes, exactly. It has effect on the drug strength. So it will unnecessarily get diluted, which is not to be taken into consideration for preparation. Anyone else with any ideas? Because after these, the things are like this only, which you might have read in so many books. So in this topic, as such, these are things where teachers will have to add something when we do activities. Otherwise, these are the things mentioned in the books, given in pharmacopoeias. And all of us are teaching since so long. Okay, so for maximum medicinal virtues, plants are collected early in the morning, but after the disappearance of the morning dew. Morning dew has to go away, then only we can select the plants. Otherwise, this dew is going to add moisture, as stated by all of you, some of you. So after identifying, collecting and selection is done with gathering of plant in fine sunny dry weather. Okay, so selection should not be done in the morning with the morning dew after rains and excessive heat. Too much of heat is also going to be harmful. Too much of rain will also destroy. Again, whatever you give reasons for the rain and dew, same reason is applying for the heat. Excessive heat is going to take away the moisture which is already laden in the plant substances. So these things are to be avoided. So collection can be done by anyone. We can give instructions to anyone for collection of the drugs, but as such, when the selection comes, these criteria are to be remembered, right? So I have not heard, but there may be some people who may be interested and maybe going to the jungles for collection of drug substances. But most of the time, the pharmacies that we are visiting, they are having a section for raw material where they are already employing the people doing BSc, botany and all, zoology, botany. So they are getting these sources from reliable areas. Now we see selected material should be cleaned without eroding. Sometimes, cleaning maybe like you give to lay people, if cleaning is done harshly, it will move the some of the part of the plant or components may be lost. So these parts should be carefully preserved. Very slowly the cleaning has to be done, and profuse water also should not be added. So wherever I read the points and whenever we are teaching also, we find 4 to 5 points related to this only, that more water not to be added, not to expose in more rain, not to see in the morning dew, excessive heat is also harmful, and when you are washing also too much water is going to spoil. So this also applies for the vegetables that we eat at home. Sometimes, in order to clean them so much, we are putting it to 1 or 2 hours in the water. That is a wrong practice. It should be thoroughly cleaned, but you just cannot dip things in water and keep it for a long time. Otherwise, we will also lose the value of the nutrition in the food which we are eating, particularly green, coriander, then we are having the bottle gourd, spinach, all such things. We cut the vegetable, we leave it in water, and then whenever time is there, we are again putting it in the small pressure cooker, or we are putting it in a pot and cooking. And I think these days people are also started cooking in earthen vessels. Do you agree? Many of us may be doing. What is the reason? Why does it affect our health? अर्दन वेसल्स, माटी का बना हुआ, उसमें क्या हो सकता है? Yes, directly nutrition is there. People in the previous days were playing in the sand and all and having much proper immunity. So I have found out that those who are also eating in earthen vessels are having much better immunity. Right? So it is adding immunity to the nutrients are added to the food material that we are cooking. And some people state that heating the food is also decomposing the protein. But in our Indian practices, we are not used to eating like animals. Like we although belong to the highest cadre of the animals, but we are not still eating raw food. There are some methods coming up where dietitians are advising to eat only raw food. कच्चे वेजिटेबल्स वगैरह, कच्चे फ्रूट्स तो कच्चे ही होते हैं, बट वेजिटेबल्स भी बोलते हैं कच्चे खाओ. But that is, I don't know how long it is effective. But anyways, it is then suddenly changing all the electrolytes, and over dieting and all these things are also very harmful. But let us stick on to this, that water in profuse manner is going to wash away it will erode certain parts, and also it will wash away the nutrients. Now selected drugs, they are to be packed too loosely. Tight packing of the drug is again very much harmful. Whenever we are also putting certain things into our containers, there should be some space. If we are packing it very tightly, we are again losing, there is no space for breathing for these plants. So selected drugs are packed too loosely, they have to be packed. Drugs have strong odors from the selected one. Yes, now drugs which are having very strong odors. For example, can you tell me camphor is one of them. Other examples can you quote please? Asafoetida, very good. Hing. Then any other? Yes, very good. Cinnamon. Clove. Okay, they are very strong in smell, and if you are adding them with the other drugs or even preserving them with other drugs, they are losing their medicinal value. So for such cases, we have to preserve them in a very separate zone. Okay. Now selected drug must be employed in preparing the homeopathic medicines so that they can yield the medicinal strength in its unchanged form. So we must try to prepare the drugs very fast so that raw material which is kept must not be, preparation of the drug must be hurried. Or in short, we can say that whatever orders are there, I think pharmaceutical companies bring the raw material accordingly. Too much storage of raw material for a very long time is also not recommended. Still in the selection of drugs, we have the second section out of the 6 that we used to study. First, the plants. We have over with the plants. We will see many things in common with the animal kingdom. Selection of animal specimen as experienced zoologist is preferred, who can go for the most appropriate selection. So for animals also, it is that zoologists have to be trained. Again, it is the same method. Zoologists are having knowledge of the species, similar species making up the genus, families, orders, class, and then phylums, and finally they move on to the kingdom. Wild animals, again like plants, are to be selected as they are having they are natural specimens. So wild animals to be selected for preparation of medicine. And selection of deteriorated specimen is to be avoided. So those which have already decayed, decomposed, obviously we are not going to go for selection of such animals. And same thing like the plant, worm infested selection in any specimen is also to be avoided. So those which are having worm infection, obviously we cannot treat them for preparing the medicines. Okay. Now secretion and excretion, whenever to be collected from the animals, they are to be avoided, because for selection if they are not in proper hygienic condition. Animals, although they may be wild, but if they are in not proper hygiene, we cannot continue to make medicine with them. And good stocks are to be selected for preparation of drugs. So if good stock is required, good slaughterhouse also is to be selected. Right? So good slaughterhouses. Anyone have any idea which is the world's largest slaughterhouse? Largest slaughterhouse of the world? It is Chicago. Because in those countries, in American countries, people too much, they rely too much on the non-vegetarian food, the canned preparation. In India, there are many people eating non-vegetarian food, majority are eating, but they procure the meat, they prepare and they eat. There, in foreign countries, there is more availability of tinned and packed food. Meat is also under preservation. They are, like if you go to any shops and all, like here we are having D-Mart and such. There are moreover Walmart, and those areas are having a specific section where meat is already multiple type available, and they are all processed and again stored in such a way. So in those packets, the specific rules are written that how it is preserved, how it is stored, and under what temperature it has to be stored. Because the animal, we when we die, we are the highest form of animals. In all cultures, either there are few routes, either they have to bury the body, they have to, there are graveyards where there are not, if burials are not conducted, then the body is put in the graves and they put it in the soil, they dig the hollows and they put it in the soil. So if the human bodies are not preserved, immediately we do have rituals to discard the bodies. Then for animals, if you keep it for a long time, imagine what sort of processes they might be undergoing. So these processes are there which are to be followed, and then with these processes only animals can be kept properly. So when we are also preparing medicine, these animal products which are preserved for a longer time, there has to be some rules that you have to put them in freeze, in deep freeze. Deep freeze only poisons are entertained for, but otherwise from good stock, the people who run pharmacies are in contact with good slaughterhouses, they are in contact with zoologists, they procure the part, they select the selected part are brought to the manufacturers, and then the manufacturing continues. Now see, there are few other methods of selecting drugs, but now giving some examples. The fishing method, we see codfish from where Oleum jacoris is prepared. Then we see that we are having Astricus fluviatis. Crayfish is there, cuttlefish, sepia, jellyfish, medusa, and starfish, Asteria rubens. So fishing is one of the methods for selection of the drugs. So here botanist is not, zoologist is not going to play an active role. Fishermen will procure the fish, but the zoologist will check the quality and the consistency from where the stock is available. Hunting is another method where we see beavers are hunted and Pastorium medicine is prepared, musk deer, Moschus is prepared, and sperm whale, Embra gracia is also prepared. Now, there are other scientific sound methods which are very much famous in insects, how to procure the insects. There are ants from which we are making red crushed ants, we are making Formica rufa. From cantharides, we are having Cantharis medicine. From cochineal, we are having Coccus cacti. From cockroach, we are having Plata. And from honeybee, we are having Apis mellifica. Now, after the animals, we move on to, if anyone else is having any knowledge regarding this, may also share in the later sessions. Selection of minerals as drugs. So we have completed the vegetable part, we have completed the animals. Now we are moving on with the mineral section. According to the rules of chemistry and mineralogy, where the expert changes from botanist, we move to the zoologist. Now, from zoologist, we have to take the support of a chemist. Chemist or someone who is an expert in minerals. Selection of minerals are only to be done after testing in analytic laboratory. Also, if they are procured from reliable sources. If you are very sure that you know some mine owner and you are getting some minerals from there, it will not work. It has to undergo some testing of some proper lab. Otherwise, that mineral cannot be counted as a pure mineral, because we are making medicines which are deep acting. We are all aware that medicines which are deep acting are procured from mineral kingdom. So in such cases, although if you know the sources and the sources which are, already known to you, you still cannot go for the testing of the minerals, or you cannot rely on it. There has to be some analytic lab testing before you can start preparing medicine from it. And apart from this, selection or making of drugs from mineral kingdom only after quantitative and qualitative assessment. Otherwise, this analysis is not done. We cannot count the mineral as a pure mineral for producing the medicine. Selection of minerals as drugs. Selection of finely powdered or pulverized mineral cannot be done. If anyone is giving you powders and saying that this is aurum met, you must trust this. If this is argentum nitrate, you must trust this. You cannot just trust any mineral which is given in powdered form, and must not do. What are the other rules when we are bringing indigenous plants, exotic plants? There are so many rules. That in powdered form, you should not bring any medicine to your own country. Part should be brought, right? Part should be brought, then you have to powder it on your own, and proper labeling should be there. Powders cannot be relied. They can be manipulation, maximum manipulation in the powdered form. So there are chances that there may be some adulteration also, so we cannot rely on the powdered and pulverized minerals. Strong smelling chemicals are stored in airtight containers. Always this you have to remember. Collection is very easy, but these are some points for selection to reach the preparation stage. So, strong smelling chemicals are to be stored in airtight containers away from sunlight and also other strong odors. Mineral selection is to be done only with expert support. Otherwise, you cannot entrust for preparation. Now we come to the fourth category and fifth category together: plants, animals, and minerals. Now we come to nosodes and sarcodes. Selection of endocrine products and enzymes can only be made after having efficient knowledge of morbid anatomy and physiology of the particular specimen. Just like that, we just cannot blindly rely. We have to have a proper knowledge that what part is being brought to you. Before that, you just cannot rely, and you should have knowledge of anatomy and physiology about the specimen before the medicine is prepared from that. Now, procuring the selected product only from hygienic and dependable slaughterhouses. Nosode, everyone knows, is disease product, and everyone is aware that sarcode is a healthy product. But here also, the analysis is to be done left on the slaughterhouses, and then chemical testing, obviously, that whether they are really diseased by the help of pathology, and the sarcode are healthy products. So again, reliable slaughterhouses are there, which are going to be beneficial for procuring such medicines. In the continuation of nosode and sarcode, we move ahead with selection of such animals. Animals where we actually are asking the slaughterhouses to give them some particular type of diet before they are cut to procure the medicines. They are given simple diet, prescribed. This diet is there before we can extract the drugs. Apart from this, selection of nosode on basis of standard serological laboratories which deal with manufacture of cultures of these organisms. So serological lab plays an important part. What type of labs at the end I will ask you? We have gone through. What type of analyses are there? So first we have gone through one more lab. What was that lab? This is serological lab. There was one more lab. Analytical lab. Yes. So try to remember the name of the labs, because this is the way we have to teach the students, Students now are not like what we were. Exactly, that is the difficulty, their concentration and all. I'm not blaming the students. But the sense of taking responsibilities has decreased, which all the teachers of all the cadres will face. What we have done, exactly, they are not, they are much more intelligent than us, but they are more oriented towards technology, much more oriented. So on basis of standard serological laboratories which deal with manufacture of these cultures of the organism and selection of nozzle should be prepared after proper diagnosis of the disease. So again, help of which lab we have to take for diagnosis of the disease? Pathological lab. So micropatho lab, they have to go for the detection of the disease, diagnosis of the disease, then only we can move ahead for preparation of the medicine. So this is how selection becomes so important. You might have heard that there in the lab we are having a machine called microtome. It is a very finer, yes, exactly. So it is cutting the pieces of any specimen into equal order, and then those particular specimen, once taken, can be read thoroughly in the microscope, right? Depending on the type of microscope study it requires, but microtomes are used. So for animal products, not only you can just prepare them, but you have to undergo the laboratory processes where small pieces are obtained, and then it goes for the further testing. Now we come to the last category, that is the selection of import regalia. So much is given in so many books, but we just conclude with few things, that whenever we select magnet, what are sold in the toy shop and all, we cannot just go for preparing any magnetic products from wherever we get. We have to undergo a physical laboratory. From the physical laboratory, after the testing, only we have to get the magnet from those particular areas where medicine is prepared. And obviously, we are not preparing medicine from magnet, it is being prepared by pharmacy labs. Selection of Luna, when we are taking Luna into consideration, just to remind that the moon, which is the moon energy that we are consuming, or the medicine which we are preparing, it is a full moon. You just have to remember it is a full moon, right? And selection of X-ray from a chemical testing laboratory. So whenever X-rays are there, chemical testing laboratories, they play a very, very vital role. And the chemical testing labs once decide that these type of X-rays, so because overexposure to the rays and underexposure is also harmful, so whatever rays are required for preparing medicines will be decided by the testing labs. Otherwise, just cannot have. Okay. Now after the selection part, we move to preservation. Anyone wants to add something? We start with preservation, because see, my topic is not identification, collection. Otherwise, we can explore so many things. So out of collection also, I had to bring down, in a tapering way, just come down. Anyone wants to add anything that criteria you have gone through or you have taught your students? Because we are a group of people delivering the lectures, right? So we hope that in this group, there will people be like coming out and delivering lectures. We still have that Mangalore group, Palghar group. Wherever we have gone for CME, we have met so many people, right? But then we tried lots to, like we should not enter into too many complications in pharmacy. But anyhow, CBDC has come and we are into so much paperwork. I hope, but we have to accept it anyhow and move ahead with that, because all the paper that is being checked by quality control people, by our NCH people, they are checking everything, right? So we just cannot avoid, because now the parliament has passed it, so we have to follow the strict instructions. Initially, we also had lot of difficulties, accepting that why it has come. The freedom of children is not there, as it was, like the freedom of teaching is also gone. Too much of involvement. But then it has been 3 years, so we are into it, and I hope all of you will also expertise in this, and further with these expectations, you will move ahead. Now, HPI mentions, we move to the second part of the topic, what the HPI is mentioning. It is mentioning specific instructions for preservation. I hope nobody wants to say anything regarding selection, if anyone wants, because then whatever we are going to do will not be exactly related with this. For selection, anyone wants to still mention anything? Anyone? Okay, should we move ahead with the second topic, second section, preservation. HPI is mentioning specific instructions for preservation of individual homeopathic drugs. So our Bible is the pharmacopoeia. Now common rules or general rules are followed universally everywhere in all the pharmacopoeia.
For here we have to learn that containers or jars which are preserving the drug should be preserved in neutral glass or earthenware vessels which are well stoppered. Right? I used to stay very sick, when in my childhood, and in Kolkata. Anyone from Kolkata here? Yes, ma'am. From where? No, no. Where? Which college?
NIH.
NIH. Okay. Ma'am, we used to stay in Central Avenue.
Salt Lake.
Salt Lake. No, Central Avenue.
Esplanade, near the Esplanade.
Yes, main in Central. Where School of Tropical Medicine is there. We were just living opposite that area. So we used to stay in Central Avenue, and I studied in Loreto. Over there, I studied in Loreto. So yes, Loreto. There are 7 Loretos over there. So there in convent schools we studied there. And then I used to remain sick in which sense that every time getting fever and all such things, and then behind the ear there was a swelling. So allopath pediatrician in Park Street and all. I am talking about extreme childhood. So they used to tell me that these are mumps and this and that, and my parents were also very worried. But one of my aunt who was already residing in Kolkata, they were all followers of homeopathy because Kolkata is a hub of homeopathy. Yes, exactly, madam. Exactly. So there in each lane you will find homeopaths, and when I was living there, before so many years, there were people practicing in bulbs. They are having bulbs. There is no proper consultation room, but there is a line, of patients. People are standing in line and they are taking medicine. So, and even I have visited NIH. So there also so many patients are there. So this doctor who was treating me, Dr. Bhaktaranjan Chakravarti, he used to charge 2 rupees for 1 week medicine. And we used to go by trams, You heard about trams? Yes. And if you go by a tram, there were two bogies in the tram. If you go by the first one, there are fans which is costing 50 paisa, and if you go by the second, it is 45 paisa. So those days, those paisa were also available. So people used to travel and move to those doctors. And I got perfectly fine. Though that time I don't remember which medicine. So my mother used to tell me that with homeopathy you were cured. So I, being a female child, there was no pressure that you go into this field or that field, and I selected homeopathy because I was cured by homeopathy. So this is my story of Kolkata. That then my father had his central government job there, and then we shifted. I got married and everything in Gujarat. So basically, being Gujarati, but I talk very fluent Bengali and write such good Bengali, which I cannot compete in Gujarati. Cannot write properly. Means I learned this language. This is my mother tongue. I learned, but fluency is in Bengali. If you tell me I can write any letters and paperwork in that language very fluently because education was there. So convent school first priority to English, second to Bengali, and third was given to Hindi. So that is how. So that is why I also believe in simplicity. With simple clinics, people were getting cured. So show doesn't matter in life. Simplicity matters more than showy things. So containers, okay, these are why I reached Kolkata, I forgot. Because in Kolkata we used to get medicine having the wooden stoppered. I mean, so corks were wooden. I remember corks were all wooden. I never saw plastic bottles. There were glass bottles and they were wooden. Yes. Cork was wooden, sir. That was the and the name of the pharmacy also written fully. Everything mentioned properly with small, and those butter papers were used. पढ़ी के जो बनते थे ना, that was the practice. ठोंगा, there was a small. Yes, exactly.
अगर आप मिल्क का जो डोज बनता था 1 डोज,
हाँ 1 डोज, तो फिर ऐसे 10 डोज डाल दिए, 5 दिन के बाद आना, ऐसा करके वो 2 रुपए और 2.5 रुपए लिया, तो भी मैंने वो बोलते थे कि इसीलिए मैंने 50 पैसा बढ़ाया है. इतना सर चीप हुआ करता था, पर वो पेशेंट्स बहुत होते थे होम्योपैथी में. My age is not that much, but होम्योपैथी वहाँ इतना ज्यादा चलता है. मैडम के इंस्टीट्यूट में तो बहुत पेशेंट्स है, पर वहाँ गली गली में होम्योपैथी का इतना ज्यादा बहुत लाइन लगती है. वो हम कोलकाता को कंपेयर नहीं कर सकते किसी के, वहाँ एक जगह बहुत ज्यादा प्रैक्टिस है, बहुत. हाँ, बहुत मानते हैं. अब तो जो लाइक नाउ इट इज इन ऑल दी स्टेट्स, बट कोलकाता कैन बी कंसिडर बिकॉज कैंटियन लोग वहीं आ गए थे ना, डायरेक्ट कैंट के फॉलोवर्स कोलकाता ही थे. So containers, okay. We move ahead. Okay. Now we move to the preservation of drug topic, where we see storing corrosive substances like acids and alkaline. Hard glass bottles with glass toppers are to be used.
for corrosive substances. Obviously, hard bottles are to be used because if it is not hard, there are chances that some of the glass particles, if it is not hard, then glass particles also will enter it. So, stored drugs that may be affected by light or sunlight. There are specific preservation rules given, which we all know. Colored actinic glass bottles covered outside with a solution of asphaltum or black varnish should be used. Storage of fluoric acid, all of us know. We are always asking our students also in MCQ that fluoric acid is stored in what? So everyone knows the answer, Gota Pocha bottles, and otherwise bottles will dissolve by acid. So if this material is not used. Now blue bottles has dynamic action and is injurious to drugs. So we may ask students that which are the bottles not to be used for preserving drugs. Blue and yellow bottles are not recommended. They acquire, sometimes under sunlight, yellow bottles are acquiring medicinal properties and then they may transfer those medicinal property in the drug. So we cannot try not to use yellow and blue bottles. Now in the methods of preservation, so these were the rules like which bottles, which corks to use. Methods of preservation, we have keep containers with medicinal substances away from dust. Like every rule, dust is obviously not to be entertained. Odor which are unusual, we cannot entertain. Smoke, moisture, dampness, strong light, etc. not to be used for preservation. Now, strong smelling substances like asafoetida, camphora, iodine, creosote, muscus, terebinthine, oleum must be stored separately. Why? Because they are containing such particular strong odors which is obviously going to transmit the medicinal defect, the medicinal virtues. See, you will see that in our practice, whenever we are giving medicines and we are saying that सुगंधित चीज के पास मत रखना, तो वो लोग जाके मंदिर में ही रखते हैं, जहाँ अगरबत्ती रहती है ना, वहीं लोग जाके मेडिसिन को भी रख देते हैं. हाँ, बट तो क्या फर्क पड़ता है? बट यही फर्क है कि मेडिसिनल वर्च्यूज पावर कम हो जाता है. और लोग तो ऐसे आर्टिकल लिखने वाले भी है जो ऐसा बोलते हैं कि नहीं, रखने पे भी कुछ नहीं होता है. तो वी हैव पीपल, when we say don't eat raw onion and garlic, people are saying वो खाने से भी तो ठीक रहता ही है. And there are always controversies. When you put rules, then there are people writing articles against those things also. Okay, moving ahead with the preservation section. Drugs having power of mutual reactions. Also, you should not preserve them together. If they will mutually react with each other, it is not good. Drugs to be preserved for a considerable time may be dried in a chamber by allowing hot air to flow into it. Plants or their parts should be kept in dry, cool and dustless, odorless places. For preserving pulverized drugs, they should be perfectly dry. There you cannot accept any such type of moisture content. You understand? If moisture is there in any of the drug, it will become mold. गट्ठे हो जाएंगे उसके. तो वो मॉइस्चर किसी भी फ्लो में जाना ही नहीं चाहिए. और ड्राइंग थ्रू वाटर बाथ एंड ड्राइंग चेम्बर्स, particularly which are having temperature control. So moisture, if there is any, you must see that it is. See, in our home, at our residence also, we are not entertaining anything in the kitchen. Dried powder, turmeric, red chili powder, dhania powder like turmeric, coriander powder. Are we putting any wet bottles? Do we use? We make sure that if the bottles are washed, it is properly cleaned with a dry cloth, and then only we put such things so that it is maintained properly. Okay, now we finished with the preservation overall for the plant, the rules. Now animal preservation products, whatever you bring, earliest you have to use, not delay. You see, people are having more disease conditions in countries abroad. Here, because people eat fresh vegetables, if they eat meat also, different varieties, they are eating in a fresh way. They procure it, they prepare it, and they, because in Kolkata, madam, lot of mach and bhat and everyone is eating lot of school. We used to carry our routine food, Gujarati food, but in the class everyone is eating mach. You understand? Mach is fish and bhat is everywhere,
Nice.
Yes, and over there, if a person is owning pukur means if you are owning a lake, then you are easily, parents of the girls, they see that if a person is having a proper pond, then they get their, in the villages, they get their daughters married to that person because they feel that rice is cultivated in the field and fish is procured in the pond. So my daughter will not be in trouble. So that is how the checking was done, right? That whether they have proper land, whether they have pond of water where fishes are there, then the marriage becomes easier over there. So animal products are to be used at the earliest. Animal products decompose quickly, so to be preserved in the freeze. Venoms are preserved in deep freeze along with glycerin. This is very important. Venoms, snake venoms. What do we do with snake venoms? What do we do with snake venoms? We know the collection method. If anyone can just briefly tell me that how snake venom is collected before we go for its preservation. Very briefly. Yes?
Pressing of the fangs.
Fangs, yes. Pressing of the fangs. Any other way? By mocking the serpent. Then what are the other ways? By chloroform. Chloroform is also induced so that the serpent is releasing poison, and that poison to be mixed with glycerin and preserved in deep freeze for further. What method do we go for preparation snake venom? Trituration, right? Exactly, trituration. So, but this is the way it has to be preserved. Okay, and if anyone is having any idea that beyond this X, if we go biochemistry, I mean biochem, we use X like 3x for 2x. Beyond which power the snake venoms should go, beyond which potency? Otherwise, it will not show any. Okay, this will be an assignment. Just find out. Beyond what trituration it should go? Then minimum what? Minimum beyond 3x. It should exceed 3x. If it is not, then you are not getting proper medicines, right? Mother tinctures. Okay, now we move from simple medicines and all. Now we move to the mother tinctures. Mother tinctures to be preserved is well cleaned bottles, colorless, neutral, print glass bottles, hard glass to be used so that glass particles do not enter the bottles. For mother tinctures particularly, we have to remember that glass particles should not enter. It has to be a hard bottle because it is a direct tincture. Labeling is to be done properly since with using the symbol for mother tincture. Theta like symbol we are using. Q is also used. Pyrite to be used for storing acids, caustic products. Medicines affected by sunlight are covered with black varnish or asphaltum. Gutta purcha again for fluoric acid. Maybe in all the PowerPoint presentations 2-3 times we are going to see that for any type of fluoric acid, gutta purcha is used. Now what are the different examples I will show you, that what are the drugs and what are the methods by which we are going to for the preservation. Like for example, Hepar is there, we are using actinic glass bottles. For Lachasis, we are having glycerin to be taken into consideration in the vial for preserving it. And again remember, glycerin along with that the venom that it has to be put in deep freeze. Only freezing will not do, deep freeze is necessary for preserving the snake venom. Which few medicines we all know. Do you know that if there is hemorrhage in the eyes, which particular medicine will be very helpful? Even allopaths are using the content. You must have heard of Bothrops. Yes. If there is high blood pressure, and again that leads to glaucoma, means intraocular pressure also increased, and blood starts coming in the, bleeding, capillaries, minor capillaries will obviously break. So what happens, in those cases, there is blurry vision, patient has very much difficult situation. In these cases, Bothrops is going to absorb the blood back and also going to be helpful in reducing the pressure. Bothrops very important for intraocular pressure increase, right? So snake remedies not only used by homeopaths but are also used as for allopathic treatment in such cases when there is bleeding in the eyes. Okay, now we come to phosphorus. It is preserved under water. Why? Because it is inflammable in the air. Preservation of drugs. Mother tinctures should be kept even at a temperature of 60 degrees Fahrenheit or 15.6 degrees Celsius, preserving in cool dry place and avoiding smell of tinctures, like again the same things. These are very strong smelling, asafoetida, camphor, moschus, right? Then oleum, terebinthine, oleum, etc. should be kept separately in airtight containers and well closed glass bottles. One more thing, that mother tincture should be well filtered before storing or when dispensing, right? This is an essential step we must remember for preservation of mother tinctures. According to the new method of preparing mother tinctures, in the practicals, what are we teaching maximum? Which mother tinctures? I'm just discussing this for, yes, calendula, because marigold is easily available, so that is very practical, sir. Azadi recta indica, Allium cepa, Allium sativa, Vinca minor, okay, easily available. Aloes, yes, sir. Okay, gingiber, good. Puja also. Arjuna. For practicals, we are using these things. Okay. Just out of way that in herbarium specimen also, we now the council has reduced the number of specimens. When we were students, we were preserving 100 drugs, then 50 drugs also. Now the rule is how many drugs? 30. 30 in the herbarium, sir. Herbarium. 20 also now. 20. So with 20 drugs, we must be very specific that students are purely drying them. Let them watch videos. Let them watch videos. We are teaching them from the previous herbarium that this is the way to preserve. We should encourage them to see some videos and totally dry them. Now, since the number has decreased, we should see that they make proper herbarium sheets. In school also, they are teaching proper herbarium. Sometimes, you know, some students, they try to put specimen which are not perfectly dry. So, in those cases, we must make it mandatory that they make herbarium which are fully dry. Because, okay, so too much of heat or cold also to be avoided. Some mother tinctures may become turbid with muddy sediment also. Even, see, this is only possible in practice. What we do, we order only what is required more, and whatever is to be means what we are using for the patients. Those who are preserving for longer time, like the pharmacies, they are trying to see, they get a chance to see that mother tinctures, they have muddy sediments. I hope that I will share in the group. There is a rule, everyone is aware that now the homeopathic medicines, apart from what has lost no expiry. Are you running a group, madam, with these students? I mean, participants? Speakers are not there in the group. Speakers. So we will share something I have given to Amita madam. I will share. I think everyone must know this, that the date for the expiry has gone. Once in the group I had written, actually I lost the letter. I have been filing so many, I mean, making the files. But I had lost this letter, and suddenly I put it in one group where you may be all part of the group. I put it, and Dr. Ram Jyotish. Dr. Ram Jyotish has already replied my answer in the group. He has written, he has sent all the NCH letters. So please, all of you, get it printed. I will also share in the group. You get it printed. You should paste it somewhere in the lab. Keep it in your files and tell the students that the expiry of homeopathic medicines have gone. Exactly what NCH is stating, what exactly are the rules, it has been mentioned. So expiry, previously, you know, we used to write 5 years expiry. And even when we are demonstrating anything to the students, we are asking them, please write down name of the medicine, potency, like students writing on their own, preparing label on their own. हाँ, potency क्वांटिटी ऑफ द मेडिसिन, कितनी क्वांटिटी में है, 100 ml बनाया, 200 जो भी है वो लिखो. उसके बाद बैच नंबर लिखो. बैच में हम वही लिखवाते थे जो बैच बनाने आती थी. हाँ, बैच, हाँ वो बैच, फिर जैसे मेडिसिन बनाते थे, देन मैन्युफैक्चरिंग डेट और मैन्युफैक्चर्ड बाय, तो ये सब हम लिखवाते हैं. फिर एक्सटर्नल एप्लीकेशन रहा तो भी हम लेबलिंग करवा के उनको बोलते थे कि यू प्लीज राइट डाउन शेक वेल बिफोर यूज वगैरह. But I see that many foreign laboratories like Boyden and all, they are putting the expiry date. India also has it, but now it has gone. Few months back only, this rule has come. Its expiry dates are not to be implemented for homeopathic medicines. I think, are you aware? I think many of you have the letter of NCH or not? I will share it in the group.
आप भेज देना मैम,
गैजेट में, हाँ
हम भेज देंगे.
मैंने अभी गैजेट भेजा है पीटर मैडम.
हाँ वो है.
हाँ वो गैजेट आप यहाँ डिस्प्ले कर सकते हैं तो सबको पता चले कि ये रूल्स आ गए हैं और हमें फार्मासिस्ट के लिए फायदा नहीं रहेगा. फिर एक्सपायरी वाली जो डिस्कार्ड कर देते थे, हो गया टाइम पूरा, चलो डिस्काउंट वगैरह सब वो हो जाएगा ना. हाँ, दिस गैजेट आई हैव ब्रॉट इट. दिस हैज कम on the NCH mail. It has come. Sorry, in the college mail I received this. सर उसको आगे बढ़ाइए. हाँ.